guys, welcome to today's video. What do we call this? Wisdom of the Grandmasters. That's right. Now, I'm going to address the white elephant in the room. Just because when I looked at the camera here, that's what I see. I'm wearing a scarf around my lower thigh. Now, the scarf is interesting because I was born in Canada, and I went to Venezuela, and I bought a scarf in the tropics from my mother. And when she passed away, of course, she gave me the scarf. The scarf came back to me, and it says Colonia Tavares, Venezuela on it. And I brought it with me when I moved to Canada in 2016. Moved from Canada in 2016. And I'm using it right now to compress ligaments in my knee because it works better than the brace does. So that's that story. Just tighten her up a little bit again here, and away we go. Today we're going to talk with Master Phil here. We're going to talk about what technology is going to do to the martial arts world, and about the Kosho study groups that I'm going to be starting up in June via Zoom conferencing. And I'm a little bit...
You're missing a beer.
I'm missing my beer. I'm a little bit surprised that I decided to do that. One of the reasons is technology's come a long way since pre-2020 when it comes to video conferencing, because somebody honking a horn out there like crazy. Skype is shit. But what do you want? It's a Microsoft product. Yeah, I said that. Microsoft products are all crap. That's why I never use any of them. They're bloated garbage. And I've been Microsoft free for a very long time, and I will remain Microsoft free. It sounds like an air horn almost. Oh well, we're getting close to graduation here for the high school kids.
I think that ceremony happened a little while ago. So we live across the street from a high school, or just school, multiple levels to it. So
yeah, well, the school system here is very, very different than it is in the West, and it's actually very effective. You don't just go to one school; you travel. You can go to different schools on different days, depending, of course, on where it is you live. I would imagine it'd be different in Bucharest, but out here, they bring kids in from Oradea to go to the school here. I'm not sure what the school here specialty is. In Brasov, there were music schools that people were busting for different days of the week. But they were all out there doing their graduation thing this morning, so... I've been trying to rack my memory. I believe that the high school is done next week, and the grade school goes for another week or so. They get a longer summer, but then they work a little bit harder than they do otherwise. So,
well, Usha's on vacation for the summer now, starting today, so she was finished.
Yeah, and they go back. I think they go back the last week of August, I think, is when they go back, something like that. It's not in September, because Labor Day is May 1st here. It's not in September like it is back in North America. So, anyways, because the technology has come so far, and the world of video courses is dead. People simply don't care anymore about video courses. And it peaked. It did really, really well for a lot of years. And then around 2022, it just took a nosedive. Now, that's not my opinion. That's not based on my personal experience only. That's what the general audience of people who make video courses are saying across the board, whether it be for teaching a language or teaching people how to draw or whatever, that they're just way down. And it's always been sadly true that, hey Fritz, it's always been sadly true that people who purchase anything to do with self-improvement. And a video course typically is some sort of self-improvement. Even if you're learning auto mechanics from a video course, that's self-improvement.
Yeah, you're learning, yeah.
They tend to not even, some of the people don't even ever look at them. I know I listened to Tony Robbins talk once about his big audio course he did towards the beginning of his career, and the statistics that he had on it were that about 98% of the people who bought it never took it out of the shrink wrap. I burned the CDs out, right? And most people don't take it. And it was like a $300 set, and most people don't take it out of the shrink wrap. And it's like, wow, really? No wonder things are the way they are today. So, and also, you know, the dystopian BS that happened in 2020 with that massive power grab, it's made people today more interested in seeking personal relationships, but not in the same room.
Well, I know that there are still some people that are concerned with our virus and won't socialize too much, or if they socialize, they are so much strict in how they would do it, right? So people still think about a face mask is a good thing to wear when you're socializing and leaving your home. So there is that part of it too, sir.
Well, what's funny is if you try to have a conversation with somebody with regards to the fact that that's detrimental for your health, and that I can prove it, unless of course the Ontario government changed the book to support their lies. But that's their story. But when I worked at Chrysler, I had to get off midnights, and I transferred over to the truck plant to go on steady days. And when I first went in, I had a job in the paint shop in a sanding booth. And so the big vans, they came out of the primer tanks. And you had to look at the front. I was on the driver's side front, because sometimes you would get some sags and things in there, and take this sander, hand sander, which was a powerful thing, and it had an evac on it for dust, and you had to smooth this thing out. Quite often you ended up taking the primer off doing it, which is just fine. It's not a big deal. And then this was in a booth that was air evacuated, massive circulation, and then we had to wear these masks. And I'm working for 20 minutes, and this guy comes in, he looks at me and says, "Get out of here." And I went, "He says, "You're on relief." It's 20 minutes. He says, "Yeah." And he says, "Come back in 20 minutes, and then I'll be back." So I was 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. So I inquired with safety about it, and it was the fact that, and I had to leave the booth. I could not sit in the booth and read a magazine or something. I had to leave, go to the cafeteria or whatever. And it was because it dropped the oxygen rate down to about 16 something, and safe is 18 and a half. So it's a big deal. Yet, you know, the bullshit was pushed to the nth degree, and it's all only due to corruption and greed. Can you imagine how much money was made on those disposable diapers for your face? Okay? And the thing, I asked a question too, and I really had somebody look at me like they didn't know what to say. So if this is so dangerous, how come these are all over the streets? Why isn't there a biodisposal for them, like just for needles?
Yeah,
you know, they just talk with it, throw it on the ground. You know, prove that you're a human pig like everybody else does, and throw it on the ground.
And there's something that I definitely saw in Canada before I left. Is exactly what you said. You're walking down the street, around the house, or going to the store downtown, and you see them rooted on the grass on the sidewalk.
Yeah, but the really great news about that period of time was nobody died of cancer that year. Nobody died of a heart attack that year. Everybody who was murdered, it wasn't murder, statistically. Everybody died of bullshit 19. So, my applause to them to the fact that it cured every disease that year. And if you think I'm kidding, go look the statistics up. Anyways, let's go on to the Zoom session.
Topic, yeah.
Yeah. I did study groups. I did my first study group in Kosho back in Canada. I started the second lesson after I was with Steve Stewart. Because whatever I learned, I taught. Always did that.
Yeah.
And I would typically take like 12 people into the group. Ran one. Now the first one was an experiment. A year later, I reran it because I was then authorized to teach them. And they were black belt courses, and they ran for a year. You did your grading. And now, were you in my first or second group?
I was in your first group.
You were in my first group? Were you in two groups? I can never remember.
It was one group. But it was a lot of fun. You were there, Master Kurt was there, and we learned a meridian, a class, and time of the day, the energy flow it was, different points, and we'd come in each class and you would close up one at a time and we'd have a part and we'd map out a meridian on each other.
And we did it over the course of a year because that's what Steve did. And it worked pretty good.
It's Saturday mornings, it's Saturday afternoons, or Saturday mornings.
Yeah, it was Saturday sometime.
Saturdays, yeah.
I think it was right after class because I think we had morning class then.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
And then these people graduated to the advanced class and started another novice division. And then advanced ran for a very long time. I stopped doing novice after a while because enrollment took a dive in around 2011. I was only doing advanced for quite a while. But I had about 25 people in advanced. And it was a lot of fun. Now, when Grandmaster Steve was going out and doing them in other countries, he would do the whole thing over a much shorter period of time. And it was just very, very intensive. So as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, well, if I do 6 months, that's a reasonable amount of time. And then the person could do the grading after this time. Because in a classroom setting where you got people sitting around, a lot of time does get wasted.
Yeah, because people have to wait their turn to map out meridian, and you're watching, and then.
So we'll conduct it that way, very intensive for about 2 hours, and then run a question and answer for however long we need to. Then anybody who's got no questions can leave after the 2 hours, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm expecting that it's going to be a very good way to do it because there is nothing barring it from working. It's even if I was teaching people how to do a middle block, right? You can do that when you have a two-way communication, still fairly easily. But the nice thing is that I think that people will do the work if we do it this way, and not just buy the course and be all. I can think of one guy who was all excited about doing the Kosho Home Study course, and he was writing me every day for about a month, and I haven't heard from him in like 3 months now. Because you get off, something happens, and you don't do it today. And then, I'll do it next week, and then, next week never comes.
Yeah, well, I think the motivation can suddenly wane and disappear. But this way, they show up each month for that Saturday class and online, and they know what Saturday it's going to be, what time, so they can book their schedule around.
Yeah. And we're going to run them at 9 a.m. on the each of the Saturdays that they're scheduled for, at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, depending what time of the year it is, which is Toronto, Detroit time. That makes it 4 p.m. for me, which is just fine. And I do have some people that say, well, I can't make that time because it's this time of the day for me. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you're not really interested. Yeah. And that's okay. That is an answer too. Because when I went to my first Kosho thing, did you have to move me? Were you involved in me moving when I wasn't there? From the apartment building?
I'm not sure if I was helping that time. I helped you move a couple of times, but that time I'm not sure.
But at this particular time, I was going to my second or third session in London in the novice program. And on this Saturday, the girlfriend I had booked to move, because we were living together, to move to this place that we were getting. I couldn't be there. I had Kosho. So I got all the students to move us, and I showed up around 8 o'clock that night after being done. And she was upset with me, right? Needless to say, we are not in a relationship. That was a long time. Of course, Novice Kosho was a long time ago. But you see, that was more important to me than moving. I could get people to move. That was more important to me to move. So somebody who's dedicated, and I'm in a group with We Miltier, and that's 1 o'clock in the morning. That I got to be there.
Yeah.
I'm there. Been doing it for a couple of years now. I'm there twice a month, 1 o'clock in the morning, because I want what's in it. I only missed the one time, but that was extenuating circumstances.
And to add to what you were just sharing, you had to travel 2 hours there, 2 hours back to attend the sessions with Master Steve, and you did, so you had to really want it.
And then once I was out of novice and Kurt went into novice, I was traveling for that, so I was traveling for his and for mine.
So you're there longer.
So I ended up going twice a month regardless, because I ended up going to all the novice sessions to help him out, and then to all the advanced sessions, and eventually he created a master's session, and so it was 3 times a month. And it was just like, wow, I should get an airplane and do this easier. Because that highway gets a little tedious after a while.
Yeah.
In fact, there was even one session and another female that I blew the relationship with. I am the king. Hail the king, baby. She didn't appreciate this, and she should have. I was away for the weekend at a camp, the Canadian Martial Arts Training Camp. And about 4 o'clock, now this was on the Saturday, at 6 o'clock, there was a dinner that went well late into the night. And so I left the camp about, I would say 3 o'clock, drove back to Windsor, picked the wife up, drove back to London so she could attend the dinner. And she very much appreciated that, but and there were some great men there. Dan Severin, Frank Trejo, especially Frank the Tank. I'm not taking any away from Dan Severin, who both of them went up and told my wife what a wonderful husband she had, because I was willing to do that. And I fully agree. Now, with Frank Trejo, it was a little bit more meaningful because she was Venezuelan and Frank was Mexican, so they had a lot in common. They both spoke Spanish. And so they got along really, really well. And it still did help me, because I was just too dedicated to what I did. But what can I say? If you want something, you either have to go get it or you don't go get it. It's always going to be one of the two. That's why I can definitely give you, advice on, especially on Kosho and Kosho Ru and different other aspects, Hapkido and those other aspects. Just don't ask me about relationships, unless you want to wreck one. If you don't want to be married anymore, talk to me. I can help you out, because I'm really, really good at that. That's why I'm single right now. Or at least I think I am. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's part of the problem. Anyways, on Saturday, now today as we are doing this, it is Thursday, I believe.
I think it's Friday, actually, sir.
Oh, I hope not.
No, you're right, it's Thursday.
Oh, good. Because if it's Friday, there's a lot of things I didn't do today at all. As I've got a 3/4 White Wolf Husky mix laying on my foot, because she hasn't left me alone all day long. And on Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I am doing a free Kosho class via Zoom, 45-minute session, half-hour session, 15-minute question and answer. And I'm going to put a link below if you wish to join that session. It is free. You've got to follow that link. You can register. You got to register twice. Okay, sorry. You got to register twice because I have to prevent the session from being spammed. So I can't put the Zoom link in there, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare. So you have to go register with me, and then I will send you the Zoom link, and you have to go register with Zoom. But to attend the meeting, you do have to register with Zoom. If you register and cannot attend the meeting, that's fine. You will get a copy of the meeting, a video of the meeting, an audio of the meeting, and a transcript. About 24 hours later, I will email them to everybody who registered for the meeting, whether they attended or not, to give you an idea of exactly what it is that we're going to be doing with this. Because to have a look at it and get an idea if you think it's right for your needs for learning pressure points, I think it's the way to go. In my opinion, and it's only my opinion, the day of the commercial dojo is pretty much finished. Now, there are many people who will disagree with me on that. And the reason that I say not completely finished and pretty much finished is, depending on where you are in the world, rents and utilities are just unmanageable. I was always walking on a razor's edge when I ran the dojo because it cost me $10,000 every month to turn the key. And that was back 15 years ago when I was seriously doing it. 14 years ago. That's you figure 2010, 2011, looking at that. Imagine what you're looking at today. So I pretty much see as a future people with small dojos, like the old days, teaching out of high school gyms or out of church halls, those types of things. But you see, because of the technology, you have the ability to bring someone in that you normally never would have been able to. Because first off, I don't want to travel anymore. Somebody wants to come here for the RMATC, all I gotta do is go to Bucharest. I don't want to go to Spain. It's a great time, but my days of travel are pretty much at a conclusion. I just don't want to do it anymore. And it is a fantastic alternative. And you still have all the interaction. It's great. And the technology with the big screen TVs, even better.
And to add to what you just sharing and saying, sir, from a financial point of view, when I say from a financial point of view, you'll be saving money in terms of if they were to pay for you to fly out to whatever country they're in to host you for a seminar, pressure points. So if you look at paying for your flight, paying for your hotel, plus paying for your fee for flying out there to teach. Whereas this, they're just paying the fee to learn. So it's a much cost-effective way for them to go.
And the cost of airfare now is just astonishing, especially for really bad service like you get anymore. And you also kind of wonder when you go into the airport what crime you committed to be there, because maybe you're not treated well anymore at airports and those things. I think that it's a great way of the future, and the technology. I will tell you, and I will say this irrevocably, no matter who lies. The technology is much further ahead than you know. Always is. But people don't connect the dots. Right? Went from a flip phone to a BlackBerry almost overnight, and then bang, there was an iPhone. That technology's been around for quite a while. Now we have, and I've seen demonstrations of it. I saw a demonstration of Bucharest a few years back. Now, Romania is very, very high IT. A lot of great IT people here, great IT careers. The number one antivirus software in the world, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it because I run Linux, I don't need antivirus software, it comes out of Bucharest. Because the two biggies are out of Romania and out of Russia. Kaspersky is out of Russia. Great antivirus. Bitdefender. I think it's called Bitdefender here. I think it's Bitdefender. Great antivirus software. And there was a demonstration using 5G technology of holograms, concerts done by hologram. And it was impressive. It was very impressive. The technology's there, and the price of the technology is actually one of the few things that is coming down. So definitely going to be the way of the future. Can you think of anything else?
I think that's it.
Well, that should be it for this episode. Remember to check the links down there, because it's Saturday the 25th that this free session is. And so if it's something that you think you might want to check out, don't wait to do it, because once the 25th is gone, it's gone. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.